Welcome to my latest video. I'm going to do a keep sell loan for the Aston Villa squad as we go into the summer months and look at changes that are possibly going to happen with Aston Villa entering the Europa League and not the Champions League next season. I have no inside knowledge. I understand that PSR is going to be a factor, and much that can be. People say from 30 to 100 million that we're going to have to make up during this summer. I think it's probably going to be closer to 50, so maybe one or two big sales are going to have to happen, unless we can offload a bunch of the fringe players who may be out on loan for this last season. So we're going to get started. I've already made sort of a head start, and I'm just going to quickly go through these players. I've gone through the players that we've had on loan or players that we have out on loan, what we should do with those if possible. Saying selling players is easier said than done, especially when they're sitting around on high wages. So before I share my screen, I'm just going to quickly go through the players. As you can see on the right hand side, if we can purchase Alex from over at Chelsea, they say he's valued around 25 million. I think he would be good backup for Konza. Also can play it on the right hand side in defence if need be. Costa, again, I would keep him. I know he's been on loan. I would bring him back into the squad. Enzo had a pretty successful loan out in Valencia. I'm expecting, as you'll see later, Kamara may be going, and I would bring him back into the squad and see what he can do. Players to sell. Okay, we don't own Rashford or Asensio. I would send them both back. If we'd have got Champions League, I would probably have purchased Rashford if we could, but with the high wages that he is on, and Asensio, I don't think those are smart deals moving forward. If we can sell Buendía, Moreno, Iling Jr., Coutinho, Dendoncker and Dobbin, that would be some great work during the summer. As I say, some of those are sitting on decent wages. If you look over here on the left hand side with the calculations that I've made, and that includes paying 25 million for Diassi from Chelsea, we're still at a profit of 17 million. But look at this, saving wages, weekly wages of 611,000 for those players in total. I'm getting the value for players from Transfermarkt and looking at salaries on Capology. Those numbers are estimates. I can't say they're 100% true, but it's the best information that I can find. So I'll share my screen. So now we're going to look at first team squad members. We'll start with the big elephant in the room, Martinez, who has already shown from his actions that he may be heading out the door. He had a rough end to his Villa career. If it is the last game he has played, either way, we know if he does stay, which I think is very slim, he'll miss the first 3 games of next season, so we'll certainly need somebody in that place. Is that going to be Gauchi? Now, Olsen has already left to Malmo, but I think Emmy is going to leave, and I wish him all the best. If he's going to leave, I would say we should be asking 45 million and upwards. I know clubs are going to try and lowball us, but in the present market and not Champions League, I think that would good value for money. So if we look at this, 45 million and 150,000 a week salaries, we would garner from that, so we will sell. So now we're at a total transfer fees at 62 million profit and 761,000 savings in weekly salaries. We already know Robin Olsen has gone. According to records, he was on 50,000 a week, which was, pretty high for a backup keeper. We're not going to get a transfer fee for him, so we will sell. Next we'll look at Pau Torres. I put 0 in transfer, 0 in weekly wages because I would keep him. Not because I would personally keep him, but I think it's what Emery is going to do. I don't think, when we look at Torres, I think he falls short in the leadership capabilities, qualities that we need to take Villa on to the next level. I don't think he's shown those in the key games that he's played over Mings at the end of the season. I think if you look how defensively weak we were prior to him getting injured and then Mings coming in and shoring things up, yes, Kamara had a big part to play in that, but in those key games, Palace, United, I don't think he stepped up. I would get rid of him, but I don't think Emery's going to do that. He certainly doesn't seem to favour Mings right now, so I think he will keep him. I think he will get another left-sided central defender in, but for now we are going to keep Torres. Next we'll look at Ezri Konsa, probably one of my favourite players, if not my favourite player outside of Kamara. I think he's been solid. He's a much better player with Mings by his side. He did have a little bit of a drop off last season, but he was still a most reliable defender throughout the season, and his pace made up for the lack of Torres at times. If Emery's going to keep him, he certainly can't be playing as a right back because he's no use out there. He's on about 75,000 a week. Torres is on about 100,000 a week, but again, I would keep Konsa. Next we'll look at Tyrone Mings. As you can see by the numbers in there, I'm going to sell him. Transfermarkt have him at 6 million. He's on about 100,000 a week, which is high for somebody who I see now as Emery's not going to select him very often. I think we can bring in somebody younger and probably better for cheaper. So I'm going to sell him. Actually, I'd rather keep him, bring in another number one left-sided central defender, get rid of Torres, but I think Emery is going to let him go. This is quick. Courtney's contract is up. He's sadly been injured for a very long time. He will be remembered for the winner against United, but he will remove 10,000 off our wage bill. The next we're going to look at Ian Maatsen. This one's pretty easy. He was brought in last season. He started to take over Luca Digne's position. I think Luca Digne had a great season, but I think this guy is the future. Even though he had a very poor game against United, I see him being our number one left back next season, so we will keep. Next we will look at his rival for the spot, Luca Digne. As you can see, I've entered numbers in for him. I think he's been a great servant for the club. He's always stepped up when the pressure's been put on him, but I feel with a year left on his contract, this is a time to cash in. Maybe it's his Saudi move he finally gets. He's on a high salary, one of our top at 120,000. That would be a great number to remove off the wage bill if possible, so we will add Luca Digne to the sell list. Next we will talk about the enigma that is Matty Cash. Again, numbers in the boxes. 28 million is what rumoured he's worth. I know some Italian teams have been looking out at him. There's a possibility of him going before the start of last season. I think he's been pretty solid, since the turn of the year. He's made the odd mistake, but hasn't every player. And of course he's going to be remembered for the back pass against United. Terrible pass, but I think with a couple of years left of his contract, I think this would be a good time to cash in on him, no pun intended. And if we could get 28 million, I think that would be some good business, and shifting 80,000 off the weekly wage bill would be good to go. So let's sell Matty. At this moment we're already at a profit over 100 million and saving 1.2 million off the wage bill. I think Villa should just hire me and we'll get things sorted this summer. It's easy to make these decisions on paper, but trying to get people out the door, if it was easy, I think some of them would have been done already before last season, but we can always dream. We'll continue. We'll skip Axel and we'll go on to Andre Garcia. Still a young player at 22, just been pulled into the under 21 national team. I think he's a future right back. I think he will be taking Cash's role next season with backup then from Costa. A few times he has played, I think he's done decent. I think he's a very decent attack-minded defender. I know he made the bad back pass that cost us a goal early in the season, but it seems like all of our defenders have done that at some point during the season, so I'm not going to hold that against him. So he is one to keep. Next we'll look at Amadou Onana. Again, one of my favourite players. I think the energy that he has, he's been unfortunate with injuries, and I think at times people have thought he has been a bit of a sick note at times, but I feel that he's one for the future, still relatively young, and you'll see with my later sales, I think he will be key next season. So we are going to add him to the keep pile. The next player is Boubacar Kamara. Alongside Tielemans, I think he has been the most important player in the second half of the season. I think, honestly, I believe if he'd been fit all season, we'd be in Champions League position. I think we would have been pushing Liverpool closer to the title. I feel that a lot of teams would have noticed this throughout the season. Unfortunately, I think I can see him going. I think if he'd have signed a new contract prior to us not getting Champions League, I could have seen him staying. But now I think he has a couple of years left on his contract. I think this is going to be the high point for him, because if we don't sell him now, we'll probably see out his last year. So I would probably sell him now and get as much as we can for him. So we'll look at his numbers. I wouldn't sell him for anything less than 65 million in the current market. I think he's worth that to any top club in the Champions League. I could see him going. I'd hate to see it, but I could see him Man City looking for him to work alongside Rodri, but he's going to fall nicely into any of the top teams who are going to be trying to win Champions League next season. He's on a decent salary at Villa, so getting that off the books is certainly going to help us. Don't want to sell him, but I see him going, unfortunately. Next player is the young kid, Lamar Bogard. Overall, I think he had a solid season. He was used in a multitude of positions, right back, centre back, defensive mid, and I think he was admirable in all of those. He had the odd mishap, but again, for a young player, I think he's got a bright future. I know teams are going to be sniffing around him, if not on loan, to purchase him. I would certainly keep him in the squad. I wouldn't want to send him out on loan, so I am going to put him to keep. The next one is probably the player of the year, Yuri Tielemans. Considering we got him on a free, unless the fans said his legs had gone, I think he's been pretty remarkable, to be honest. I don't see any Villa fan wanting him to go, and I don't see him going or wanting to go. We certainly missed him, and I think if he'd been fully fit for the United game, I think it would have been a different result. We saw when he came on the difference he made in a attacking sense. But yeah, we need to keep Yuri Tielemans. He's got a couple of years left on his contract, and I could possibly see him getting a new contract in the summer. The next player on our list is our captain, John McGinn. The captain, 2 years left on his contract. Some may say maybe time for him to go, allow the likes of Ramsey to flourish, but I think we need him. We need him in the squad. I don't see him being a starter as much as he was this season, but I think he had still a very, very good season. But no, he's one I would keep in the squad and not sell. Next player is Ross Barkley. For me, I'd get rid of him. Too injury prone. I think he has missed too much of the season. On 60,000 a week, I think we could open up that salary to bring somebody in, maybe with not his experience but the potential. that he has. I think he's performed okay when he's played, but I've also seen him give the ball away quite a lot. So if we could get him off the books for no revenue, I'd be happy with that and open up that salary to somebody else. I appreciate you staying with me. We're getting to the last few on the list. The next one would be Jacob Ramsey. I really hope we keep him. I think we're a much better team when he's on the field. I think his runs at the defence of the opposition opens up so many opportunities. I think him and Rodgers are very similar, and sadly though, because he's homegrown, I could see him potentially going, but I'm hoping, I don't think we need to sell him if we sell the others that I have, so I'm going to keep him. I think he possibly could be one to go, though I know Newcastle have been interested and Spurs have been interested, and with both of those in the Champions League, the vultures may circle, but I hope that Emery is strong and we keep Jacob Ramsey. Morgan Rogers, one of our star players throughout the season. Some say that he did go missing again in those important games, and I can agree with that somewhat, but I feel he is crucial to a lot of our strong performances. So I hope we don't accept any bids for him. It says he is valued at 50 million. I think with 5 years on his contract, I think we wouldn't sell him any less than 75-80 million. But as I say, let's keep him for now. We've already mentioned Asensio and Rashford, so we will look next at Leon Bailey. When we signed Leon back in 2021, 4 years ago, I had such hope for him. But sadly, I would say he's only had one good season out of the 4 that he's had for us. A lot of injuries, a lot of mixed performances, and I think from last season he's not at the level consistently that we need. If we can get 32 million for him and remove 120,000 a week off the salary, I think that is extremely good business. I can see him going. I'd be very surprised if he's here next season. Okay, we have a couple left. We will next have a look at Marlon, who was probably the unluckiest player last season with what happened with him with the Champions League. I think when he's come on, I think he's done pretty well. I don't think he's had enough time throughout the season. I feel, he's replaced Morgan Rogers, Bailey out on the right. I think he actually did pretty well as a number 9 when he replaced Watkins, and I can see him being used there more next season, so I certainly wouldn't be looking to offload him for a loan or sell him. Be looking to keep him in the squad for next season. The last we will talk about is the record holder himself. He finally got there at the end of the season, Ollie Watkins. Now this may be a surprise to some. I actually really rate Ollie Watkins highly, but, and this is a big but, he doesn't play well when under pressure. What I mean under pressure, I mean under pressure from somebody else in his team who is trying to take his role. If he has a player, and we saw it with Mings, we saw it with Duran, if he gets dropped for the odd game, it takes him a while to get back scoring goals and be consistent. He does miss a lot of good chances. He scores some chances that you don't think he would score, but his work rate and his position, I think he's second to none. He works so hard for the team as that sole striker. He gets in very good positions every game, but what we need to go on to the next level is somebody who has his work rate, gets into those positions, but their goals per shot increases a lot. There aren't many of those around, but I feel that there are players out there. I know we just brought in a young player, I can't think of his name right now, but he's certainly one for the future. Is Marlon the one to replace him? I don't know, but I feel that there is somebody better out there. Out of the 3 big players that I've selected to go, Martinez, Kamara and Watkins. Watkins would probably be the last to go, but I could see the benefit of selling him if we were trying to step up to the next level. We need somebody who is a Michael Owen type player, if there is one out there. But yeah, may surprise a few, so maybe happy with that decision. But yeah, I would actually sell him and look for somebody to replace him. So we're going to add him to the sell list. So let's have a look at the outcome here. We have 14 players who I would keep, and we can see these up on the top right here. And then we have 18 players that I would return to their home club or sell if possible. And as I say, some big ones here: Bailey, Watkins, Kamara, Cash, Digne, Mings, Martinez, who played big parts last season, and just one player out on loan. Now, as I said at the start, I'm not going to suggest players at this time who we could replace, but if we look at the transfers fee, we actually, the gross is 205 million we would bring in if we were able to sell all 18. Now, that's not going to happen. Obviously, I think if we sell those 3 key ones, Martinez, Kamara, Watkins, I think we're looking close to 150 million from those, which will cover us for PSR and would also give us some money to go out and buy some additional players. Wages, 1.6 million off the weekly wage bill. Now, that would be tremendous to help us if we could bring in players that would only accumulate maybe half of that back. That would certainly help us for PSR in future seasons. We've got to bring down that 91% salary versus revenue that we seem to have right now. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I'd certainly appreciate your comments below, and I'll end the video there. So again, I appreciate your time. Like, subscribe, share the video. Please drop comments below. I will do a video next week or the week after on players who I would bring in to replace the players, as I mentioned, who I would sell. Hopefully I can do that and make us some money, help us balance PSR in future seasons. But it's going to be an interesting summer, no matter what sales and purchases are made. Now, I'm sure mine is nowhere going to be near 100%. I'm sure there's players I would like to get off the books who are still going to be there, seeing out a contract. Coutinho, Dendoncker, 2 that come to mind that I feel that we're going to find difficult to get off the books. But who knows? Maybe God will smile on us and we will get rid of them. So have a wonderful day, and bye for now, and see you next time.